Thank you and welcome to the show for today. You are watching Perspectives and I am host Alana McLaughlin. This morning on the show I have Daniel Stoner, known as D Stunna, here to discuss his artistry, his background, his education, and the impact that he seeks to leave through his music on the local Tennessee community. Thank you, Daniel, for just sharing some time with me, and thank you for coming to share your perspective.
Thanks for having me.
You. To set up this first segment, I want to talk baby Daniel years. I tell everybody this. I'd like to talk about just those wholesome years, set up what childhood looked like for me, kind of what family life looked like, and take me through kind of those baby years.
Okay, well, when I first started doing music, I was about 12 years old. I started writing on pieces of paper, taking it to school, and they were lyrics from like Tupac, Biggie, Eminem. And I was just saying, like, these are my lyrics, even though they really weren't my lyrics. And that pretty much shaped me to kind of like start writing my own songs alongside with my twin brother. And we took it from there, and you know, it made us who we are now.
Now I want to go back to even before 12. What inspired this love, or this interest at least, in music? Tell me some of the music that you grew up listening to leading up to kind of being that 12, 13 age, maybe music in the household. What were those early inspirations?
I went to church a lot. When I was a kid, it was crazy. We lived in Gary, Indiana. And anybody that knows us real close to where Michael Jackson is from. So we listened to a lot of like old school records from Michael Jackson, gospel records. Me and my twin brother, we used to have like these toy guitars and things like that. We still got pictures of things like that and everything, and that inspired us a lot to, you know, just do music. We was around it all the time, so yeah.
And now, being this adolescent, being 13, on throughout high school, did you begin to pursue music, or were you pursuing maybe athletics, different disciplines or sciences? Kind of tell me what life looked like through that middle school, high school era.
Middle school, high school, we were around sports a lot mainly, but it just always seemed like music just would not leave us, you know, it was always around us. It just, I felt like we had to be that. We had to do that.
Give me, if you can think of some examples of just music being around. Did you have friends or peers that were musicians? Were you going to concerts? Just tell me about how that love kind of built up.
It's funny that you asked this. In middle school, we used to have this group right before school that would always like do a cipher and rap. We would all rap together. Like,
really?
We had one guy that was beatboxing, and it was probably like 6 to 10 of us that would just go back and forth and rap. One day the dean saw us rapping, and she was like, "Oh my God, y'all sound so good." It's just something that was always there. You know, you beat on the desk in class and things like that. Music is just everywhere. It's everything, you know?
Now, take me through life after high school. I know that you graduated high school in Virginia.
Yeah.
And I know that shortly after you transitioned down to Tennessee, excuse me. But tell me about that transition, those early kind of adult years, and what that looked like.
It was tough because I was trying to figure out like what I was going to do in life.
Yeah.
The first thing that I thought was going to happen was I was going to go to college for basketball. I was a pretty good, you know, I used to hoop, you know what I'm saying? So I was pretty good, but that didn't really work out so much, and I was expecting a scholarship from that, and that didn't happen. So, you know, I started working at Walmart, just like, you know, anybody else would do. You just find a job. I found that job, and eventually I was like, I got to figure something out for my life, so I enlisted into the military.
And enlisting, tell me about your family's reception to that. Was this something that just was it something that had been simmering, or was this just like one of those overnight, like, man, I just need to do something?
I'm gonna be honest with you. The military was my last option.
Okay.
And I never thought I was gonna have a last option. I never thought I was gonna have to actually do that, but it was the best option. And I had a couple family members that were in the military, but my close family, they were kind of surprised, honestly. So I just went ahead and did that, and it was the best decision that I made, honestly.
And now, after enlisting, where were you stationed at?
Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
So now you've been plucked out of Virginia and kind of almost dropped in Kentucky. Literally. Tell me about that Fort Campbell experience, both as a serviceman and just kind of getting used to Kentucky.
The military taught me how to be a real man.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, it taught me responsibility. It taught me how to just not make excuses, even when you can't do something. You just don't make any excuses. You just do what you can to make something happen with your life. It gave me a great opportunity to get into college, graduate college. I have a bachelor's degree thanks to the military, because they paid for all of that. And it got me to where I wanted to be. It was a stepping stone to get to an actual career. I think everybody should do something like that to figure out what they want to do in life.
I agree, and I think that's like a beautiful kind of promotion, both for the military and just for young men who are freshly out of high school, don't really know what's going on. That's great advice. And now take me life after the military, and we're kind of jumping the gun here, but I want to talk about now you're back as a civilian for the majority, and I want to talk about really honing in on that music. Throughout your military career, were you performing? Were you? Yeah, you still. We're going to talk about that in our second segment because I want to know how you kind of juggled both those things. Yeah. And I encourage our viewers to tune into the second segment of Perspectives, where Daniel and I will return to discuss his artistry, his background, and the impact that he seeks to leave through his music on Tennessee communities. For today. For viewers just tuning in, I am host Alana McLaughlin, and you are watching Perspectives. This morning on the show, I have Daniel Stoner here discussing his background, his education, his artistry, and ultimately the impact that he seeks to leave through this music on Tennessee communities. In our first segment, we set up Daniel's early life. We set up his beginnings in Virginia, through high school, through enlisting in the military, and ultimately being stationed in Kentucky. And we're coming right back into that Kentucky experience, leading into him transitioning down to Nashville, or up to Nashville, and we're ultimately talking about the impact that these shared experiences have had on him and ways that he wants to give back to Tennessee communities. We're coming right back in. You're in Kentucky, you're in the military, but you're still kind of promoting yourself as an artist. You're still kind of honing in on that craft. Tell me about it.
Okay, so I started engineering around 10th grade.
Okay.
Right? And I kind of carried it on. Now, the thing is, when me and my twin brother got split up, we both were in the military. Yeah. But he ended up getting stationed at home. I ended up getting stationed in Kentucky. So right before I left to go to Kentucky, he was like, hey man, you're gonna have to learn this engineering thing. You're gonna have to buy this equipment, whatever. So I was like, all right, you know, I don't wanna lose my passion for music. So as soon as I got to Kentucky, I got a little bonus from the military, and I took that and I put it into some music equipment, and I started engineering my own stuff. So from there, other artists were hearing my things that I was engineering. They was like, we want to sound like that. So I was like, well, this is a good way to get my foot in the door. Let me start engineering. And from there, I started engineering the whole entire military career. Yeah.
Okay, a billion questions. Number one, how did you learn to use this equipment that you've just bought on a whim? Was it YouTube? Were you working with people? Where is this information?
Everybody that engineers knows something about just having a good ear.
You're right. Okay.
Now we're talking about, it's the difference between school smart and street smart.
Okay.
So the street smarts of the engineering is just naturally having a good ear.
Okay.
I didn't know I had that, right? Until I start just working with it. My brother, he kind of like told me everything I needed as far as like the techniques, and I just took it and I ran with it.
Now, part two, advertising yourself as this producer while juggling military. How did you split up your time to be able to create and go to work?
Man, I was working after work. You know, I was off the clock and still working. You know, that's just what it was. I had a bunch of different, it was word of mouth. So a bunch of different people that I knew that were doing music in the military. Anybody that knows the military, you're very close. You get very close with a lot of different people. So it was very easy for one person to tell two people and two people to tell three.
I'm blown away. I had no clue that the military was this cool, that y'all had like these just different talents flowing. My God. Now take me life after the military. This is about 3 years in Kentucky. The transition to Nashville, and I want you to incorporate in telling me about that transition to Nashville, your brother getting here as well. So tell me about just that kind of shared idea of let's go to Tennessee.
Honestly, after the military, I knew I had to do something, right? I kept going to school for the engineering. I ended up graduating, but I was like, I need to focus more on my artistry. You know, this is what I really want to do. So I was like, well, I got to come up with some goals. I literally wrote down these goals and I made it happen. The first step was I need to perform every month of the year. And that's what I did. I started doing shows every month of the year. And then in the midst of that, I started telling my brother, like, come on down here. It'll be more marketable for us twins to get on the stage. People want to see something that's different, you know, and us being twins is a major thing. And another thing, we don't even cuss in our music. It's clean music. That's just how we grew up. Those lyrics I was telling you about that I wrote on, I cleaned all those Tupac lyrics, I cleaned all of those Biggie lyrics, cleaned all of those Eminem lyrics, and from there, it carried on. I still don't cuss in my music to this day.
And that is something. Now I'm somebody that enjoys all genres, but I do think that we really lack in those clean artists. I think that a lot of times when you think of clean music, you think of like the sappy love songs or maybe gospel.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't really bite onto that. But at the same time, if all that you're hearing is just like women being referred to as this and that, or young men being referred to as this and that, it gets exhausting.
It does.
And I think it's really interesting that you've kind of taken that step to make yourself unique in that way. That's really, and I'm sure your parents appreciate that too, probably.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Now tell me, I want to know about your first performance. I want to know how it felt. I want to know how the lights on your skin felt, about building up that personality, that performance ability, and really just take me through that first experience.
Okay, well, that first experience, if we're talking about when I was serious, when I really started taking it serious, nobody was there. Nobody was there. It was in Clarksville. It was at this, I don't know, it was a cave, it looked like, and nobody was there. But you know what? I gave it everything I got. I gave it everything I had. I gave the energy. It didn't matter if nobody was there. I had to imagine that people were there because I knew one day I was going to be on a stage with a bunch of eyes looking at me.
And now I want to talk about your first performance with your brother. Do you guys kind of feed off of each other's energy?
Yep.
Tell me about working with him. I know we're kind of speaking in his place because he's not here, but I'd like to highlight him and a little before us really just talking about Stonerville in full.
Right.
But tell me about incorporating him into that performance in ways that he kind of supports you. I see you smiling.
Performing with my brother is an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah.
Imagine having a best friend your whole entire life. You
Yeah.
know, that's how it is with King Pharaoh. Like, performing with him is just, I mean, it's an unmatched feeling. We feed off each other, like you said. If I step this way, he's stepping back that way. He just knows whatever to do. It's twin telepathy, you know what I'm saying? And I just love it. I love it. It's a lot of energy, a lot of love. And you could just tell, like, we read each other's minds.
And to wrap this second segment, I want to just know, for someone who doesn't really have that sibling, maybe has a friend they perform with, what are some ways that they can strengthen that relationship with that that co-performer that you and I know y'all are a unique scenario because y'all have grown up together, you know each other, but still, you still have to respect him, you still have to communicate with him, and just tell me about some of those things that make you guys mesh.
Just continue to be yourself around that person.
Yeah.
You know, we fought, we've done all that, and we still end up being the best of friends at the end of the day. So that's what I would say.
And I love that because that's applicable really to anything, to a marriage, to siblings, to friends, really just being yourself and kind of maintaining not just independence, but maintaining your personality, not so much trying to cover theirs or copy theirs, but just two good spirits coming together. And we're going to talk about these two good spirits coming together to make Stonerville. We're going to talk about all the things that you guys have planned, some of the merch that you guys have, and the impact that Stonerville wants to have on Tennessee communities in our final segment. And I encourage our viewers to tune into the final segment of Perspectives, where Daniel and I will return to discuss Stonerville, the impact that he and his brothers seek to leave on Tennessee communities, and ways that we can support him. Final segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, I am host Alana McLaughlin. You are watching Perspectives. This morning on the show, I've had Daniel Stoner here discussing his background, his education, his artistry, his military career, and ultimately the impact that he seeks to leave on Tennessee communities through his music. In our first two segments, we set up early life. We set up just some of the experiences that shaped Daniel. We talked about working with his twin brother. And ultimately, in this final segment, we're honing in on what does current day Daniel do? What does a day in the life look like, and ultimately how can we support you in your endeavors? Now, I know you've brought merch, and I just have to highlight this. I have to show this very cool shirt. I've had the honor of being given this shirt.
Yep, that's just for you. And
now tell me about just producing this shirt, producing merch as a whole. How? I see this is Hanes. Were you buying Hanes t-shirts?
Yeah, you gotta get it from the ground. You gotta get it from the ground.
But tell me about the inspiration behind starting to produce merch.
Just understanding the marketing aspect.
Okay.
A lot of people don't think about the other side of being successful as an artist. And we do everything. We do everything. We do the merch, we do the promotion, we do anything you can think of. It's about the business.
Okay.
Right? If you don't have the business down pat, the music doesn't matter as much.
You're right.
You know, like how can you do music if you can't get heard?
You're right.
And that's how you get heard. That right there, you know, that's something that somebody can remember about you.
And it's walking promotion. I'm about to have this on tomorrow and go around campus. Everybody's gonna be like, what's Stonerville? I'm like, look, here's his Instagram. but seriously, that's how those things work. And I want to talk about using that same approach to performing. Tell me about really kind of getting to know Nashville, getting to know local venues or local personalities who host events at venues, and getting your foot in the door in the city.
What's important is relationships, creating good relationships, and that's what I'm all about, you know, connecting with people. Streets 993, that's been a relationship that we've had for a while. Getting connected with the other artists that's out here, like 2 Live Bree, A West, just Nashville artists.
I've had both of them on here.
Yeah,
Woo.
so, you know, like just getting connected with them. Not even just that, like the venues that I'm performing at, Top Golf, the Kawan, the Cowan, I'm sorry, like just getting connected with them, getting connected with the 5 Spot, just creating these relationships. Even my school, like hosting for events. I hosted an event for band play. Drummer Boy, I performed at an event there, like just connecting the dots, and I know that's all important, you know?
And I really agree. It's crazy that you just mentioned Drummer Boy. I went and I saw a Georgia-based podcaster interview him at, God, what was it? What's that really swanky venue? God, it's this hotel. You have to be like a member to get in there. The name is just out of my head right now. But anyway, I saw him perform and I saw him talk, and one of the biggest things that he said that helped him get to where he was connection, talking to people. And he really lives it. As soon as he got done with the podcast, I came straight up to him. He talked to me in depth for about 30 minutes. He signed my book. And I was like, wow, this is really all it takes. You know, you don't have to be the biggest or the smallest, the loudest, the richest. Seriously, just one good person to another makes magic. He made magic. I haven't had him on this platform yet, but he's introduced me to so many different artists, producers, podcasters, and it's been a great thing.
Absolutely.
And on that topic of that relationship building, tell me about how you maintain the personal relationships in your life with your brother, your family, while juggling this artistry and this business. Where do you make time for family and for self?
My family understand my passion. They're a part of it. They're a part of it. I make them a part of everything. It's funny you say that. Like at my next show, I reached out to all of my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, and I say, look, this would be really nice for y'all to come out. And I continue to post, and I continue to just throw people the information that they need to know about what I got going on, and we just go from there, really, you know?
And that communication is something that I really like about you. You've invited me to about 4 shows. Now, most of the time they're on weekdays and I'm in school, just like you.
Just like me.
I know. And so I'm always looking at it like, man, I wish I could be outside. But the fact that you're even thinking of like little old me, we're just now meeting. And you're still extending this invitation, it puts you on my radar.
Absolutely.
And I'm a person, I kind of like avoid the phone, I avoid the DM section of Instagram. But you're communicating enough to where I'm bound to see it. And I think that's the approach that any young entrepreneur should take to anything. Artists, journalists, girls who do hair, seriously, they may not show up this one time, they may not show up the 5th time, but they're seeing it. And eventually that's gonna pull through. For real, you actually kind of taught me with your persistence, you kind of taught me what it looks like to get what you want, and honey, you have my word that I'm gonna be somewhere just because you kind of reeled me in. Even down to, before learning about you in full and before hearing your music, I didn't know who you were, where you were from, but I'm like, man, this guy is like extending this invitation. They're making you feel special. And I think that you do a really good job of that, and I just had to highlight that because it's unique. I don't have very many people who are able to kind of step out of their shame or like their personality enough to just be like, yo, I'm just like hitting all these people. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
And I love that. Now, I want to talk about current planned events, current career, what kind of today looks like. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me anything you have upcoming, and we're gonna we're just gonna talk about what Stonerville looks like today.
Perfect. Okay, so Stonerville just dropped a single. It's called Like a Charm. That just dropped January 17th. That's a big song. We got it on a bunch of playlists. Like I said, we do everything. I send the emails out to these playlists. I send the emails out to venues. I do everything. I connect, and I'm like, hey, I'm not here just to send you a message. I'm here to really create a relationship. You know, so that's what we got going on there. We have a show coming up at the Cowan, Top Golf, March 5th. That's going to be a big show. We just performed there December 4th of last year. It was a great turnout. It was a great show. Incredible experience. Raw Nashville, they're the ones that throw shows there. I love them. I love them. And then Stonerville is throwing their own show. We just had a show that we threw a couple Fridays ago, and it was a great turnout. So we decided we're going to throw another Stonerville showcase. It's going to be called the Money's Worth Showcase.
The Money's Worth.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Money's
you're
worth.
Getting your
You
money's
get your
worth?
money's
Ooh!
worth. Yeah. So that's going to be May 23rd.
Okay.
And that's on a Friday, so
I'll
we
be
want
there.
you there.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Now, where at? Have you got
The 5 spot
The 5
in
spot.
Nashville. That is a perfect spot, perfect venue. I love the people. The tech guy is on the money, I'm telling you. And my band, we have a live band.
Ooh.
Every show. That's another subject. Like, the live entertainment is super important.
Oh, yes, man.
When I say money's worth, you're gonna get your money's worth. So you're getting live instrumentation, you're getting great music, great vibes, along with 5 other bands that I personally pick myself that are just dope. These are dope people. I love their music. I love what they brought to the table. And that's pretty much it. We got so much more, but you know, just in a nutshell, that's what we got going on.
You have sold me May 23rd.
May 23rd, Stonerville Showcase. Money's Worth.
Money's Worth at the 5 spot.
At the 5 spot.
I'm gonna say, honey, I'll be there.
Yep.
I'm looking in your eye and I'm like hanging on to your every word. I'm like, yes, I am there. I want you to wrap this final segment. Plug both yourself and your twin, then you guys' shared media. I want your personals, his personals, and then anywhere we can find Stonerville content, digital streaming platforms, and just any way that people can connect with you.
Okay, cool. So everybody can follow me, D Stunner, on Instagram, D_Stunner_official. You'll find all my other pages in the link in the bio. I got a link tree for my brother, King Pharaoh, King_Pharaoh_, that's King_Pharaoh_, and our joint account is Stonerville_official. That's Stonerville_official. Y'all go in the bios and y'all can find all those other pages, streaming platforms, D Stunner, King Pharaoh, Stonerville. You feel me? So that's what that is.
So Apple, Spotify, all
we on everything.
Come
we on
on.
everything. You gotta be these days.
I agree. I'm about to say just Apple or just radio is not cutting it, especially in this day and age.
It's not.
Thank you, Daniel, for just sharing your time with me. This has been a really exciting episode because I've been able to watch you from afar. And there aren't too many people who I get to have this prolonged watch of. And I've been really excited to do this. I'm even more excited to meet your twin and kind of see how you guys mesh together. I'll be there May 23rd. But seriously, I want to meet you guys and just really see how you guys are able to combine powers and create a successful business. So thank you. Thank you for exposing me to that. Thank you for exposing Nashville communities to that. And to our viewers, thank you for just one more opportunity to share a good story, to share something wholesome, to share something positive that's going on right in our hometown. I wish you a good morning.